Welcome to the TAE Aerospace Ipswich Jets After the 80, proudly brought to you with thanks to the Ipswich Jets Leagues Club, the heart of our community and a huge supporter of rugby league in Ipswich, and of course your Jets. Today we're at the Leagues Club and with one of our many stars of our BMD team, Nikki Cox. Nikki, mother of three, started her career in the BMD space only last year with the Clydesdales, but that does not tell any of the story of Nikki's journey through years of playing football to now represent the green and white of the Ipswich Jets. A career with many high moments and tough ones through injury. Nikki is a small, super fast winger who provides speed on the edges and has already scored 3 tries in her first couple of games this year. So Jet number 3, Nikki Cox, welcome.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
It's even weird to say Jet number 3. There's not many single number Jets that I'll probably ever get to talk to. How does that feel, first of all, to be one of those foundation Jets in years to come?
I think that's something that's really special for me. I think to know that I'm part of something so important for the girls that are coming through. Like I work at school as a teacher with these girls that will one day replace me on the field, and it's just really exciting to know that I was a part of the beginning. And I think, it means a lot to me personally.
Well, it's great having you on. It's great having you as part of our setup. So, first of all, I'm not sure if the camera can pick it up, but you've got some very heavy strapping and bandage around your thighs. So let's first of all start with a bit of an injury update from the weekend. What happened and where are you up to on that front?
So I did have a bit of a injury towards the back end of the game. I have a suspected upper hamstring tear. So I'm just waiting to get my results from a scan that I'll have this afternoon, and that'll determine how serious it is or how long I'm out for, but it's quite painful, so I'm hoping it's not as bad as it feels.
But did I see right that when you went down in the game, and the very next play you picked yourself up and defended in the line because they were coming at you?
Yeah, I just didn't want them to score, and we'd worked so hard to get on top, and I think that's probably one of the things that always keeps me going is I know that the girls need me, and I know we're a bit light on edges, on wingers on the bench, so it was sort of I had to get up, and I think in those moments, when you're so connected to a team like that, I think you just do it for them, and you just do it because they need you, and something comes out of you somewhere, and then you just make it happen. Excellent.
Now we'll review the game as we always do, and game 1 was a really dominant win up in Rockhampton Capras, 38-8, and that's where you scored your 3 tries. But let's talk about the weekend. Unfortunately our boys went down at Burley, and our netball girls couldn't get up in this arena, so you are the standalone winning team of the weekend. So let's bathe in that glory. So let's talk about the game. In the first couple of minutes, we had Kerry Kelly kick over the top. It bounced unfortunately the wrong way for you to almost get that try, but Talia Fisher-Pearson put it down in the first 2 minutes. But how good is Akira at halfback?
Oh, she's superhuman, that girl. I can't explain it. She just touches the ball and then magic happens. She's one of those players that will look up. She's very much an eyes up player. She'll assess the situation, and she just does the right kick, she does the right pass, and all of a sudden the ball's in my hands and I just have to put it down. So to be honest, my 3 tries are a complete credit to her and her ability to read the game and react, and I'm so grateful to be playing outside of such a talented half.
Let's go a bit forward on from that. Wasn't very long before Pell, to the time I got over after a strong attack. Strength of the forward pack is pretty humane as far as how good we are in that forward gap. But how good is she as captain? Oh,
Pearl's one of the most beautiful people I think I've ever met. She's just got a calming presence about her, and then when she talks to us, it's always uplifting, and she'll always just bring us in, and I think it's like that connection again. And the words that come out of her mouth, they just instantly unite us, and she's always telling us she's got our back and she's got us, and we're going to be there all together on the field, and we're going to do it together. And just whenever she speaks, it sort of brings us in together, it refocuses us, and then we always feel that motivation to get out there and just smash it. So I think she's doing a really good job.
And is that part of the success that we've had so far? Is is down to that camaraderie between the group of girls that we've got?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of our success comes down to a lot of the players in our team. We've come from backgrounds where we've been the underdog, I guess, and all of us seem to have that underdog mentality where we'll just do whatever it takes, and we've got each other's back, and we know that we've got each other's back. So when we go out there, like, we can go up hard because we know the girl on our left and our right's right up there with us, and I think that says a lot about a team. And I think you can have great teams, but the really good teams are the ones that play for each other, and I think we can safely say that that's definitely our squad. We're very connected.
And it's funny when you look at the range of tries from the weekend. I mean, we almost covered all of them. We had the first one, as we said, a kick over the top. We had Pearl come over as dummy after straight through and gone over the line. And then we had, the beautiful rugby league try, 5 pairs of hands from the centre of the field through to the left. And then Paulina To'o, got over on the other wing.
Yeah.
And so what's she like to have as your counterpart on the left-hand side?
So Pauline's actually one of my students at school. She's in year 12. She's an absolute weapon. I have absolutely nothing but love for that girl. It's really cool seeing her come through from grade 9. I think I started working with her, and now she's playing in the same team as me, and she's an absolute superstar. Strong as anything, gutsy, and another person that will just put her body on the line for the team. So again, I feel super privileged to get to play alongside someone with so much talent, and just I have nothing but respect for her. She's such a good kid, such a good person, and I can't really say kid anymore, she's playing in my women's team, but I'm just really grateful she's part of the team. I got to play with her in the Diggers last year as well, and that was a bit weird but very cool. It's cool seeing all the girls that are coming through actually making it and playing in women's teams and going off and playing 19s Origin. It's exciting, I think.
And I think surely, again, for somebody as a elder stateswoman of the game, if that's the right terminology, but you can stand back and, as I said, when Ipswich, came into this competition this year, whilst there was no doubt the talent of players in this region, we were still a bit of an unknown entity. And then we put on a performance like we did at Tweed, which is so dominant, but not so dominant, more so the range of play that we have and how the quality of that ball through their hands to score that try. I mean, you must, again, stand back and look at that and be so impressed with what is coming out of rugby league in Ipswich.
Yeah, I think we've had so much talent for so long, and it's been such a shame to lose it to Brisbane or Toowoomba or wherever, but it's good that we've worked really hard to sort of build something great here, and it's actually a legitimate pathway for the girls that are coming through, like at school or through Met West or things like that. It's something that they can look forward to playing with and playing for Jets, and it's just exciting because, like you said, we have such a range of talent. We've got exceptional halves. We've got the best forward pack. I'm going to call it now the best forward pack in the comp, and just our edges are so strong. Like, even when we bring the ball back, I looked up some stats, and when I was on the bus on the way back, and our average metres per set is 50 metres compared to the next highest at 30 or 30, 31, 32. Like, we're so dominant with bringing that ball back, and that's a credit to both our strong forwards and our strong backs, to be honest. But I think every single person that's in our team brings something, and it's the way that we bring it together, and everyone lets everyone else showcase their talents, and we just kind of work together as a team, and it just works well for us.
And let's finish off talking about the game, talking about Bella. I think she's off the bench, and again, I think Akira, gave her a short pass, and she just, smashed through the line. She's just such an unassuming girl. Like, she's, again, from the outside looking in, such a lovely person. And I think everybody went up in one when she got over the line. I mean, the metres that she makes through the centre there is unreal. Tell us a little bit about her and what she brings to the team.
Bella is a force of nature. She actually got the second fastest 20 metre sprint time in our whole squad, which is phenomenal. Her strength is off the chart. She's just dominated in everything. But I think what people don't realise is Bella's actually worked really, really hard over the last few years. She's, you know, lost a bit of weight, gotten really fit, really strong. And I think, like, you can't fault her work ethic. She's just worked her butt off to get where she is. And when she touches that ball, like the other team should be running. She's an absolute beast. And there's nothing better than either following her for the offload or watching her crash over the line. And I've had the pleasure of playing with her back in Goodna when I first started. And we used to just sit back and watch. It was just so entertaining. And I just don't think I've met another player quite like her. And like you said, she's one of the most humble, kindest people you've ever met. You just wouldn't expect it from such a beast.
And it's, you know, as I said, it's, you know, something you touched on just then, regarding all the work that these girls have done in years and years to build up to this point.
Yeah.
Like it's worth noting that, you know, a lot of the boys, when they're playing, the luxury they have is choosing what side they can go to, whereas with the girls, it's not even that. It's about how do you get yourself into such a small area to be noticed. Like, although there's a lot of work, isn't there, that's been done in these years to get to represent Ipswich.
Yeah, it's tough. The other thing is, you know, a lot of girls don't start playing until they're older. Like I played my first game of rugby league at 28, so unless you sort of, all the boys come through, they start playing at 3, 4, 5, and before that they're playing in the backyard. So it's a lot of learning the basic skills that everyone sort of assumes that you know, and that's a problem sometimes. You come into a club team or a rep team even sometimes, and they just assume that you've played for years and that you know all the basics, and you understand marker systems and you understand plays, and for some of us it was starting from the very, very beginning, and I think that's always a factor with women's sport as well, is we haven't had the luxury of being able to play our whole life, so it's been a lot of learning in a very short space of time, and a lot of work. Like, we have to prepare ourselves. We're more prone to ACL injuries and things like that, so it's a lot of prep work in the gym as well before a season. So yeah, I think, I'm not sure people realise just how much we've got to catch up on, and just to, you know, catch up.
Yeah. So within the current team right now, you know, you're 2 for 2, but that's, you know, almost by the by. Just how you've gone about it is as impressive. But how would you describe the current culture within the team?
It's yeah, it's definitely a connected group of players who just really want to do well, and I think we support each other really well. Like, even after my injury, I had heaps of girls messaging me to check in on me. They all came up and checked on me before we got on the bus. I had one of the girls carry me to the bus. Like, that's the kind of group that we're in, and it's the culture of no one's left behind, everyone's important, no one's above the rules. And I think even with our little leadership group that we have, you know, we're pushing the standards with each other because we know that we're capable of more, and it's loving each other enough to know when to speak up and when to hold each other accountable, but when to support each other as well. And I think it's that fine balance, and I think we do that really well.
And how do you see, you know, from your perspective, what role do you play in the team?
So for me personally, I feel like I struggled a little bit with the transition. Last year I was playing hooker and lock, which is in the middle of the field, and I'm on the wing now. So my role, I guess, in the actual playing of the game is very different to what I'm used to. So I find I have to work to sort of inject myself into the game, I guess. But I was worried that would quiet me a little bit with some of my leadership, I guess, that I naturally bring when I am in the middle of the field. And sometimes I feel a bit guilty yelling at girls to get up off the line or slide out or come and defend when I know they've just made 7 tackles and I haven't made a single one yet. So I feel like sometimes I do feel a bit guilty with yelling and trying to get people to lift, but I also think it's really an important part for the team. Sometimes someone's exhausted and they just need that one person to yell out to bring them with them, and, you know, they can lift. But I feel like my sort of place in the team is, I might not be the biggest ball carrier or the strongest runner or anything like that, but I think what I can do with my voice and my energy is to help lift the girls around me and help push them to keep going, and then come in and do my bit when I can. And I think maybe that's what I bring to the team, is I lead by example, and I show them, I'm willing to work hard as well, and I've got you, and hopefully I think that sort of inspires some of the other girls to want to lift as well.
Is that some respect some of the teacher in you, just about leading by example and bringing people along the journey?
Yeah, I think so. And then even when I'm teaching at school, I would never ask the kids to do something that I wouldn't do myself. So often I'll jump in and do the fitness with them just to show them, this is something we've all got to do and we're in it together, and I'm hurting with you. And I think for me as a person, I always feel like if I see someone giving it everything they've got, like without them having to say anything, that makes me lift as well. So I'm a very big person on leading by example and displaying the things that you want other people to see and do themselves. Like you can't be what you can't see, and if you see people doing what needs to be done, then sometimes that's enough just to lift someone, I think, without having to be yelling all the time.
You just wish that some of these people you were playing against didn't keep tapping you around the neck and just kind of hanging off you and just like, it'd be a much easier game to play if that wasn't the case.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because I'm short or maybe I lean down when I run, but yeah, I do cop a lot of head highs.
Just to finish off on the culture, let's talk about you. But before we do that, when we did the jersey presentation, we paid homage to the Jedettes of 1995. A group of pioneering women, 30 years, prior to this. And it was really impressive hearing their story about how they, really stood up for themselves to get a team to play in a, high level competition, to have players then go on and represent the state and country. So, how important was it, again, going back 30 years, that you see for those women to lay the foundations of what you're able to enjoy today?
For me, I always take moments to reflect back on all the hard work and the energy that it's taken to get what we have today. And it's an ongoing battle. It's just that we're in a different stage of the battle. And yeah, we just wouldn't be here if it wasn't for those incredible women. And I had the privilege of working with Veronica White at school, and just hearing some of the stories that she told me about even playing for the Australian team, and the battles that they had to fight just to have, the bare minimum or less than the bare minimum. It's crazy, but I think it's important to acknowledge and important to constantly reflect on, because I think we should always be approaching playing the game with a sense of gratitude and humility, and I think we should always be grateful for opportunities to play, whether we're in the NRL or whether we're playing local football. Like, we get to play this incredible game because of all the things that have happened before us and all the people that have fought for us before us. And I just think everyone should constantly be reflecting on that, and just approach every opportunity with gratitude. And I think, I think if we all took that approach, it would be much more pleasant.
Okay, now I'm not sure how comfortable this is going to be, but we're going to talk about you now. This is you talking about you. Because as I think I've expressed this, when I talk to you, and I'm sure, as I get to know a lot of the girls through the year, how impressive they are. But certainly, we had a conversation last week in Rockhampton, and the more I talk to you, the more amazed of your journey. So, let's talk about your story. How did your journey into rugby league begin, and what's got you to where you are today?
So I was a late bloomer. I sort of pursued the pathway of, when I was younger, it was girls played netball, boys played football, and there wasn't really any opportunities at all in primary school. And then I sort of stuck with netball for a while, but played a bit of everything at high school. I just loved sport. And I used to watch the boys playing football, and I'd play a bit of footy at lunch with the boys. And it was probably when I was 13, so grade 8, when I first decided, I'd really love to play football. I wish there was a girls' team. And I sort of followed netball through till I was about 19. And then I took up soccer because I thought that would be fun. So I played a bit of soccer, and started that at about 21 and played some club soccer, and then went on to play NPL, National Premier League, for a season. And then it's a big commitment, and by that point I sort of had a mortgage and was a full-time teacher, and it's a bit tricky, sort of leaving straight from school, and we would train and we'd finish up in Brisbane about 9:30, and I'd get home about 11 and then have to be up again at 5. And I was a first-year teacher, so there was a lot of work work requirements of me, a lot of laminating and things like that, being first year. So I struggled a lot with that, decided to come back to Ipswich and build my own Brisbane Premier League team, and then got to the point in my life where I thought, I think I'm ready to start a family. So at 27 we decided to try for our first child, and was blessed with Aria. And then 6 weeks after Aria was born, I decided to trial for what's equivalent now to a BMD team. Never really played much football before, but Ali Brigginshaw convinced me to come and play. So I trialled at Brothers at the time and managed to make the squad there, but then I only played one trial match and COVID hit, so I never got to play. And then the next year, I played a couple games for North at the end of that year. And then the girls that were in the North team were originally from Goodna, which is how I ended up at Goodna. And I played my first full season of rugby league at Goodna with the girls, some of which are now in the BMD squad, like Bella, which is really exciting. Managed to make it through that season, had knee surgery at the back end of that, so I was out for a little while there. Then I lived out near Gatton, so I played a few games there, and then ended up falling pregnant with the twins. So I've got twin boys. I had the boys, so I was obviously out that season. Then I came back 6 weeks after I had the boys, and played a nines carnival with Gatton, and then played my first game of rugby league for the season. The boys were 3 months old, and I snapped my fibula right through at the end of the game. Unfortunately, I think that had a bit to do with all the breastfeeding the twins. I was a bit low on calcium. So yeah, I had surgery the next day. I've got a plate and some screws in my ankle. So that put me out for pretty much the rest of that season. And then I got cleared to run 4 weeks. I'd been running for 4 weeks, and I decided I would trial for Toowoomba Clydesdale's BMD team. Wasn't expecting to get in or anything like that. I'd been off, hadn't played much football, only been back running for 4 weeks, but I did really well with the testing night. And then I worked really hard, told them I was a hooker. I'd never played hooker in my life, but I learnt on the job. And yeah, I ended up getting a contract right at the end of the season and managed to play a couple games for them. But unfortunately, due to work commitments, I had to pull out after 3 games, so I didn't really get to finish the season there. But then I came back and played Brothers Community, which was really, really fun. Beautiful group of girls, absolutely love it there. And I got picked up through the Diggers team, and I played as a lock for Diggers, so I was a number 13 in the middle, which was very exciting. Played full games in the Chairman's Challenge, and then got picked up in the Queensland City team as a lock off the bench, which was very exciting. So I got to play that game. Unfortunately, one of the centres went down, so I did end up on the wing. But yeah, it's pretty cool learning. I've learnt lots of different positions. I've learnt how to play hooker, I've learnt how to play lock. I can play on an edge, I can jump in at fullback if we need. So I feel like my versatility has really grown. And I'm honestly one of those people that's happy to play wherever, as long as the team needs me. I'm all good. So yeah, it's been a bit of a wild ride, but here we are.
Well, what is your favourite position now, if you could pick?
I think it depends on the context. So I've really enjoyed playing wing outside of Kira, and I'm loving my edge, but I do love also being in the thick of it. So I think I do like playing lock. But yeah, I mean, at 56 kilos, I'm not exactly a solid forward, so I can understand why that's not really an option this year.
So over that time, you've detailed, as I said, there's one of the things through this. I think we're 11 or 12 episodes into this after the 80 now. That continued story of facing adversity and coming through it on the other side. So
yeah,
what is the game? How has the game shaped you, like personally and professionally, through having to face adversity and come through?
I think for me, rugby league's always been a tool for me. It's the one place in my life where I feel truly empowered. I think that's the reason I play. That comes back to my why. And when I'm playing, I feel powerful, I feel strong, I feel connected to a group of beautiful people around me. And it's sort of all those feelings. So when something happens or when I get injured, it's how can I get back to this feeling and to this team as fast as I can, because I know they need me. And I think whenever I've been injured in rugby league, and especially the last couple of years when I broke my ankle, I had twin boys who were 3 months old and I was still breastfeeding. So it was a case of crawling on the floor with my leg in a moon boot to breastfeed them at night. And then I had a scooter, so I'd load one up on the scooter and scoot them to the car and strap him in, scoot back in the house, grab the next twin, strap him in, go back in, get my toddler, chuck her on the scooter, scoot her, put her in the car. And then it was drive to daycare, drop Ari at daycare, and then I'd take the boys with me to the gym, and I would scoot out, set the pram up, I'd scoot in with one hand on the pram, one hand on the scooter, take them into the gym crèche, and then I'd scoot in and I'd do my class, because I still had 2 arms and a leg, so there's lots that I could do without one of my legs. So I just worked really hard to get back as strong and as quick as possible, and did all my rehab and recovery. And I think if you approach life like that, so when something bad happens in your life, I always look at setbacks as opportunities in disguise. So for me, yes, the ankle was a setback and I didn't get to play football, but it was also an opportunity to rebuild my body and to build up my muscle and to rehab properly and come back stronger and work on my mindset and spend time with my family. So I just think if you approach life in that way, in everything, in work, something happens at work, yep, it's a setback in the moment, but it's an opportunity. And if you always have that positive mindset, you really can get through anything. And I think looking back on some of the things I've been through, even with the boys in the NICU when they were born preemie, and all my injuries, and even this morning I've got 3 daycare bags, a school bag, it's wet, I'm on crutches, and I've got 13 front steps to get down. But you're capable of so much more than you realise, and you can just make it happen if you just never really give up, and you always find a way. So I just think football's taught me that, and I think I've translated that into all parts of my life. And I feel like the reason I have success in my life is because I just refuse to accept anything less, and I'll just keep working until it happens.
Wow, that's amazing. And look, you again, it's something you've been happy to share. Again, is that supportive family that has enabled you to be the athlete. I mean, you've talked of all the personal achievements that you've done, but that's not possible without that support. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, honestly, I would not be here at all without my family. I think from the moment I decided to play rugby league, my husband, firstly, he's been exceptional with just making sure that the kids are looked after. I can get to the games. He holds down the fort. He brings the kids to the game. He's my biggest support. And then I'm lucky that I've got my mum and my dad, who and my dad's partner. They all help out with making sure. My dad picked me up from the bus and was happy to take me to the hospital and things like that. So mum's come and watches the kids. My husband's mum, my mother-in-law, she's wonderful as well. My big sister, she's got MS, and even when she's been through hell, she'll still put her hand up to come and help me when I'm struggling. So, in a way, my family also inspire me because they're always willing to help me when I'm struggling. And yeah, there's times where it's tough and I've got to sort of just knuckle down and just get it done. But if I couldn't lean on my family the way that I do, I physically would not be able to be here, and I wouldn't be able to get my kids to where they need to be. And at the end of the day, my kids are always going to come first. So I'm lucky I've got that support network where my children are really well looked after and supported, and I'm really well looked after and supported.
We talked, you mentioned a couple of questions ago about mindset, your own personal mindset. One of the things that, again, we discussed is even just getting on a plane to go to Rockhampton, to be taken by a coach to a game, to be finally appreciated and lauded for what you rightly deserve, to have a seat in that centre stage. How important is that to be recognised at that level by the game, and how have you seen the mindset shift over the years in women's sport through that rugby league prism?
I feel like it was a bit of a pinch me moment, I think, getting on the plane. And that for me personally, that's always been like a bucket list, is to be able to play a game where I'm sort of flown somewhere, or, you know, and to be able to tick that off for me is just, it's just incredible to see how far, even in just my lifetime, how far we've come, where, you know, originally there was literally not an opportunity for me at all to being flown somewhere to play a game. Like, that's incredible. And it's just so good to see. I know it's been a battle, and it's an ongoing battle. Like, we're not fully there yet, but just to see the growth in the last sort of 5 to 6 years even, of how much people are starting to acknowledge the women and the female athletes, and it's, unfortunately, it's a bit of a cycle. Like, we do need the support to be able to become better athletes, and without that support, it's really difficult. You know, we're juggling like full-time jobs, we're juggling children, we're juggling all the stresses of running a household, the domestic duties and things like that. And then to still be able to pull, you know, 2 hours of solid training out after the back end of doing that for an entire day, when you mentally and physically have nothing left, you've just got to find something. Like, I think it's a good step in the right direction when we can start supporting female athletes to be able to reach their full potential. And I don't know what that looks like, but yeah, it's great seeing, you know, our NRLW girls actually being able to do it as almost a full-time job, and being able to, you know, be rested and perform at their best because they're being supported. And I think if we keep heading in that direction, that's exceptional, and it's going to be a really great place for like my daughter to grow up in, knowing that that's the direction that we're heading. And if we keep fighting and keep pushing, and it's just going to be a really great place for our girls coming through.
You've been involved as a teacher with obviously that junior development. You've been involved in our 17s, 19s girls coming through the system. So what advice do you find that you're giving those young athletes coming through compared to perhaps advice you wish you'd been given 15, 16 years ago? What kind of advice are you giving to them?
I think for me, the biggest advice for the girls that are coming through is it's always having that humble mindset and having the gratitude for the opportunities that you're given. And I think when you approach everything with that gratitude, you don't waste a training session, and you don't waste or take for granted the fact that you get to play a game. And when you don't take for granted the fact that you get to go to training, you always give 100%. So if you go into every training session knowing that you need to give it all you've got, and that you've been blessed with this opportunity to be in a rep team or to be in a school team, then you're never going to come in at 50%. You're going to come in and you're going to try your hardest, and you're going to run every drill, and you're going to hit as hard as you can, and you're going to listen to your coaches, and you're going to take that feedback on board. But I think just always be humble enough to accept feedback, because people now are really willing to give that advice and to give that feedback and support you in your game. But you've got to be humble enough to accept that feedback, and you've got to be grateful enough to understand that these opportunities aren't given to everyone, and they weren't given to anyone back in the day. So I just think go in and don't take any second for granted, because there's people out there that don't get to train. They might be injured, they might be hurt, they might not have just never had the opportunity. And, you know, go out there and do it for yourself, do it for your family, and do it for all those girls that are going to come through after you.
And it ties on nicely to one of the couple of final questions. I mean, you know, we've said don't take things for granted, the privilege it is. So what does wearing the green and white of Ipswich mean to you, wearing an Ipswich Jets jersey?
So I think you'll remember I teared up a bit after that first game. It's pretty special. I think I love Ipswich. I really do. I went to Ipswich High as a student. I've grown up here. My kids will grow up here. And to know that finally, after all this time, I got to put that shirt on, like, that's pretty special. Sorry.
I think what you encapsulate is, you know, what we try and instill so often. You know, our chairman constantly talks about, you know, the grit, the effort, and the privilege of putting on the jersey. It's not a God-given right, it's something that you earn. But I think in some respects, our females have come through, have earned it probably you know, as much as if more so than anybody else, because they've had to battle other things as well as just their talent to be able to get on the field. And I think that perhaps is the most poignant thing of that.
Yeah, it's, you know, there's been a lot of battles, and I think there's still a few more to come. And I think putting on that jersey and knowing that all those kids at school and my daughter are watching me play, like, I think that's the biggest thing for me is I'm around these kids every day, and I'm showing them, like, this could be you. You know, if you work hard, this is what happens when you work hard, and it's something actually attainable for them now, and it's physical and it's in front of them. And like I said before, you can't be what you can't see, and they've seen someone who, I'm literally double the age of the girls coming through in the juniors that are playing alongside me. And you know, I didn't give up, and yeah, maybe it took me 2 decades to get here, but if you don't give up and you work hard, this is what you could be doing. And I think as incredibly important to me, I think it's really important for the girls that I'm teaching as well to see that and that to see the hard work paying off, and to see that opportunities open up when you fight for them. So I think that's probably why it was so special for me to physically put that jersey on and to represent Ipswich and the pathway, more importantly, because it's the big picture. And I think sometimes people forget, like, you're putting on a jersey and you're playing a game, but it's so much more than that. It's what it represents. It's the big picture. It's the final outcome of a battle that women have been fighting for a long time, and just to finally have that recognition and support, and to be able to play for my hometown, it's incredible. And I'm incredibly grateful, and I'll always be incredibly grateful, and I'll cherish that for a really long time.
So to finish off, when Nikki steps away from the game, I mean, you look after your body so well, you're 33, you could go on to probably your 53, but at some point when you step away, how do you want to be remembered by your teammates, by the club, and by the wider rugby league community?
I think if I can be remembered by being the person that always had her teammates back, that always gave everything that she had, that always worked the hardest. I want to be the hardest worker in the room. I want to be the one that builds up my teammates around me. I want to be the one that inspires people to do things that they probably didn't realise that they could do. And I think one of the things that really sticks with me was when I played that Diggers Chairman Challenge, and I played as a lock, as in the middle of the field, for 2 games, full minutes. And at the end of it, I had one of the girls from school come up to me and say, "Miss, my dad's always told me I'm too small to play lock, but he watched you play today and he thought, wow, okay, maybe." And like, for me, that just that's a moment I'll never forget, and probably one of my proudest moments is, I'm not the biggest player, I know that, but I think when you always give everything you've got and you throw 100% into what you're doing, and people see that and feel that around you, and you never quit, and I just think people see that and they feel that and they respond to that, and I want to be remembered as the person who inspired people to go out there and, you know, reach their potential. And I think at the end of the day, that's the only reason I'm still playing, is I just want to show that, you know, the hard work pays off, and that you know, there is a pathway, and we can build something really special here. And I want all those girls growing up in Ipswich to have somewhere to play and represent their hometown. And so I think when I finish playing, and I will continue into coaching, because it's not moving into coaching. I'm doing the dual role at the moment. So when I fully commit to coaching, I think I just want to be there to help encourage and inspire and empower those young girls the way that I probably felt like football did for me. And I just, I think that's my pathway, and my journey next will be to move into the coaching space.
Well, I think if anything has come out of the last half an hour or so, I think you've proved that the right mindset, the right attitude, and doing everything with heart, with the right intent, gets you to where you need to be. It's not always about being the fastest, the strongest, or the quickest. Look, one of the things I really enjoy about working with you is that you always hold me to account. We make sure that we do everything we can in that female space, and I think that's really important. So, you know, we do And I will continue to enjoy working with you to continue to grow that space, because it's important that, you know, parity is there. We want to do what we do for the girls as much as we do for the boys. It's important. And as I said, when I'm talking and I see you nodding, I know that Nikki Cox has given it the tick of approval, so I can move on to the next thing. And it's important to me to see that. So look, it's been amazing. It's been a really wonderful chat. So Nikki Cox, Jet number 3, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So that's a wrap up of the episode of the TAE Aerospace Ipswich Jets after the 80, proudly brought to you with thanks to the Ipswich Jets Leagues Club. Big thanks to Nikki. We wish her the best for a speedy recovery, and you can see the girls play their first home game this weekend at 2 p.m. on Sunday the 29th of June right here at the North Ipswich Reserve. So stay tuned, make sure you like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you next time as we bring you all things Ipswich Jets.